Chosen one, pause and listen carefully, because this word is not for the crowds. It is for you. Heaven has pressed pause on everything around you so that you may hear the divine announcement. The wealth of nations is being shifted, and it is being transferred into your hands, not by accident, not by coincidence, but by decree. This is the moment history bends in your favor. You are not like the rest. You were never created to blend in. You were marked from the beginning to carry what others cannot. Every sleepless night, every moment of rejection, every closed door that seemed unfair, it was not punishment. It was preparation. While you thought heaven had overlooked you, God was storing up something greater. He was watching, counting your tears, marking your obedience. And now, as the world trembles in uncertainty, you are being ushered into certainty, into inheritance, into a transfer that only the chosen can hold. This is not just about money or possessions. It is about influence, authority, and the weight of nations. You are stepping into a time when the resources of kingdoms will shift from the hands of the wicked into the hands of the righteous. The plans of those who built on greed will crumble, and what they hoarded unjustly will be released to those who walk in covenant. That is you. Do you realize, chosen one, that your name was etched into destiny before the foundations of the earth? This transfer is not sudden, it is fulfillment. Every battle you fought was shaping you to stand tall in this moment, carrying the weight of blessings without bending under their pressure. The heavens are aligning, and creation itself leans forward to witness this hour. What once seemed impossible now becomes your daily portion, where others labor endlessly. You will walk into favor effortlessly. This is the signature of divine inheritance. It does not come by striving, but by being chosen and faithful, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. The Word of God declares in the book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 22, the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. These words are not merely poetry, they are prophecy. You are the righteous one chosen to receive what was stored, hidden, and locked away. Consider how nations rise and fall, how empires crumble, how wealth shifts suddenly from one hand to another. History has always been written by such transfers. Egypt was stripped of its gold in a single night when God's chosen walked free. Babylon lost its treasures to Persia in a single decree. And today, in this hour, in your lifetime, you are standing on the same threshold. Do not think small. Do not reduce this message to your own limited understanding. This is bigger than a paycheck, bigger than a promotion, bigger than a business opportunity. This is about divine order being restored. What was stolen through injustice, oppression, manipulation, and corruption will be returned to God's chosen ones, you. But here is the key. You must believe it. You must prepare your heart to receive. If your hands remain clenched in fear, they cannot open wide to catch the treasures being poured out. If your mouth remains silent in doubt, you cannot speak the decrees that activate heaven's flow. Faith is the unlocking mechanism. Courage is the vessel. Obedience is the seal. Chosen one, hear this clearly. You are stepping into a realm where resources chase you, where opportunities are drawn to you, where doors open before you without explanation. Nations will recognize your light. The influence of leaders and kings will bow to the wisdom placed in you. Even your enemies will unknowingly fund your destiny. So, do not despise the days you were overlooked, for they were the foundation of this transfer. Do not curse the seasons of wilderness, for they taught you how to survive without depending on man. And now, as heaven releases what was stored, you will know how to carry it without being destroyed by it. This is not just an announcement, it is a divine activation. The seal is being broken, the scroll is being unrolled, and your name is written in it. Lift up your head, open your spirit, and declare with boldness, I receive the wealth of nations into my hands. Beloved, if this word is striking your heart, do not let it pass you by. Seal it with your response. Like, share, and subscribe so that this message reaches every other chosen one who needs to awaken. And right now, as a prophetic act, type 111 inches the comments. This is your number of alignment. A declaration that you are one with heaven's decree. The transfer is here. The time is now. And you, chosen one, are the vessel. Chosen one, lean in close. Because you must know this truth. You were never overlooked. Every tear you cried in the night, every prayer you whispered when no one was listening, every door that closed in your face, none of it was wasted. Heaven saw, heaven recorded, heaven used it as the furnace to refine your faith. What felt like rejection was actually redirection. What seemed like loss was actually preparation. You thought you were forgotten, but in reality, you were hidden until the appointed time. The silence you endured was not abandonment. It was God's strategy to protect you from premature exposure. Had you been promoted too soon, the weight of glory would have crushed you. Had the inheritance come before your maturity, you would have squandered it. But now, because you endured the long nights, because you refused to bow to bitterness, because you chose obedience over compromise, you are ready. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for a crime he did not commit. Every part of his journey looked like rejection. Yet in the unseen realm, God was aligning him for rulership. The very rejection by his brothers positioned him in Egypt. The very false accusations trained him in humility. The very prison walls refined his character. What man meant for harm, God transformed into preparation. So it is with you, beloved. Every time someone walked away, it was because they could not go where you are going. Every time a job, relationship, or opportunity shut its door, it was heaven protecting your destiny. What you thought was the world ignoring you was actually God shielding you. Like an arrow kept in the quiver, you were hidden, not forgotten. You must hear this. Hiddenness is not insignificance. Hiddenness is protection. An unborn child hidden in the womb is not forgotten, it is growing. A seed buried beneath the soil is not lost, it is preparing to break through. In the same way, your hidden years were sacred. They were heaven's investment in you. And now the time has come for unveiling. The same people who doubted you will watch the hand of God elevate you. The same world that overlooked you will not be able to ignore you. The wealth of nations cannot bypass the one God has chosen. Your name is about to be whispered in rooms you've never entered, and your influence will reach places your feet have not yet walked. The Word of God declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 11, your gates will always stand open. They will. never be shut, day or night, so that people may bring you. This scripture is not just history, it is your personal reminder that you were marked long before the world had an opinion about you. Heaven already had a plan when others rejected you. Every rejection was a layer of protection. Every delay was a layer of refinement. Every disappointment was a layer of strength. Look back, and you will see the pattern. The jobs you didn't get, the friendships that dissolved, the places where you were ignored, all of it was heaven closing lesser doors so the greater door could swing wide. Chosen one. Can you see it now? If the people who rejected you had accepted you, you would have settled for less. If the opportunities you lost had been yours, you would have missed the greater inheritance. God used rejection to prevent your limitation. What they denied you became the very thing that freed you for destiny. This is why you must release bitterness. Do not resent those who turned their backs on you. They were part of the divine script. Forgive them, bless them, and move forward. They only played their role to ensure your calling would be fulfilled. And remember, the delay was never a denial. Heaven has perfect timing. While you waited, resources were being gathered, relationships were being aligned, and pathways were being cleared. You are stepping into a season where the very places that once said no will echo with yes. No. So lift your head high. Beloved, you were never overlooked. You were chosen. The eyes of the Lord were always upon you, guiding you through the valley, shaping you in the shadows, strengthening you in the silence. What others did not see, heaven treasured. What others dismissed, God appointed. You stand today not by chance but by design. Walk with confidence, for the rejection of yesterday has birthed the inheritance of today. Every hidden moment has brought you to this unveiling, and soon the world will know what heaven has always known. You are chosen, and the wealth of nations is in motion toward your hands. Chosen one. The time has come to lift the veil on the mysteries of hidden treasures. These are not treasures that sit glittering in vaults or treasures men parade before the world. These are treasures concealed by heaven, protected from corruption, hidden until the precise moment God would reveal them to his chosen. You have long walked through seasons where provision was thin, where opportunities seemed scarce, and where your efforts yielded little fruit. Yet what you could not see was the quiet work of heaven storing up, setting aside, and guarding what was meant for you. Beloved, you must know this truth. Treasures are not always financial. Treasures can be wisdom that no classroom taught you, strategies birthed in silence, and relationships divinely orchestrated at just the right moment. Treasures can be favor, the kind that unlocks doors no key could open. Treasures can be health restored after years of pain, joy reborn after decades of sorrow, and peace that money cannot buy. You have been trained to recognize what the world calls valuable, but heaven is opening your eyes to see treasures that last. It was proclaimed in the writings of Job, chapter 28, verse 11. He searches the sources of the rivers and brings hidden things to light. These words carry a promise. You are about to witness the unveiling of what was hidden. God himself is searching, uncovering, and placing into your hands the treasures no one thought you would hold. Consider how long diamonds remain buried beneath the earth, how gold must be mined from hidden places, how pearls form unseen within the darkness of the oyster. Nothing precious is found easily or quickly. It requires process, time, and hiddenness. And so it has been with you. You are that diamond, that pearl, that vein of gold, formed in secret, refined by pressure, concealed until the right moment. Now, the world will see the treasure that has been in you all along. Do not mistake delay for denial. Just because you have not yet seen the fullness of the treasure does not mean it does not exist. Even now, as you read these words, heaven is shifting, unlocking, and unsealing. What was kept in hidden storehouses is being assigned to you. You will soon look back and realize that every disappointment was the shovel that dug you closer to the vein of gold. Chosen one. Be alert. Heaven may reveal treasures in unexpected ways. An idea whispered in your spirit could become a stream of provision. A conversation you did not plan could unlock a destiny partnership. A door you almost ignored could lead you into an abundance you never imagined. That is how hidden treasures work. They appear suddenly, as though out of nowhere. Yet they have been waiting all along. Remember, you are not called to hoard these treasures for yourself. You are called to steward them. A steward is one who manages what belongs to another with care and responsibility. The treasures that will flow into your life are entrusted by heaven for a purpose bigger than you. You will fund visions, lift burdens, and empower generations. What comes into your hand is not just provision, it is an assignment. Beloved, guard your heart as the treasures arrive. Wealth without wisdom becomes a snare. Influence without humility becomes corruption. Power without prayer becomes destruction. But you, chosen as you are, will rise above these traps because your heart is anchored in God. The treasures revealed to you will not crush you, they will crown you. They will not blind you, they will open your eyes wider. They will not make you arrogant, they will make you a vessel of generosity and light. Now, pause for a moment. Let this truth sink deeply. The hidden treasures are already yours, waiting to be revealed. Do not look with natural eyes, only train your spirit to discern when heaven is unveiling something new. You may walk into the same room tomorrow, but you will see opportunities that were invisible yesterday. That is the power of revelation, and here is where I call you to act. Right now, as a prophetic sign that you are ready for hidden treasures to be revealed. Comment the words, "Show me." Lord, this is not just a phrase, it is your declaration of faith. When you write it, you are agreeing with heaven that your eyes will be open to see what has been concealed. You are telling God you are ready, not just for riches, but for wisdom, strategies, and divine connections. It is more than a comment, it is a covenant. So declare it boldly. Whisper it with your lips. Type it with your hands. Let heaven see your agreement. For when you say, "Show me," Lord, you are positioning yourself for revelation that changes everything. Chosen one. Hidden treasures are rising. Prepare your spirit. Open your heart. Lift your eyes. What was concealed is about to shine forth in your life. Chosen one. The season of wilderness has always carried a deeper purpose than survival. It was never designed to break you, but to build you. Every dry path you walked, every day you felt forgotten, every moment you wondered if heaven had turned its face, all of it was shaping you for the promise that now unfolds before you. The wilderness was not punishment. It was training. It was stripping away false dependencies and teaching you to rely only on the hand of God. You have lived through times when resources ran low, when answers were delayed, and when you carried more questions than clarity, and yet, through it all, you remained. That is the mark of the chosen. You may stumble, but you do not fall away. You may cry, but you do not curse. You may hunger, but you do not abandon faith. This resilience was forged in the wilderness, and now it is the very strength that qualifies you for inheritance. Think of Israel's journey. For 40 years they wandered, circling deserts, longing for what was promised. To the untrained eye, it seemed wasted time, but heaven knew better. The wilderness exposed their hearts, revealed their doubts, and separated those who clung to slavery from those who could step into freedom. It was not wasted, it was preparation. So too has your wilderness been, beloved. The promised land is not simply about abundance of crops, flowing rivers, or overflowing barns. The promised land represents fullness, fullness of identity, fullness of calling, fullness of divine assignment. You are not leaving lack just to enjoy plenty. You are leaving lack to carry the mantle of stewardship over nations. You are crossing from scarcity into overflow, not to indulge yourself, but to prove that God's covenant still stands. Remember this: the same God who sustained you in scarcity will guide you in abundance. In the wilderness, He provided manna each day, water from a rock, shade by day, and fire by night. He proved He could sustain. Now, in the promised land, He will prove He can multiply where once you lived day by day. Now you will see harvest by harvest. Where once you survived, now you will thrive. But the lesson of dependence remains. Your abundance will still flow from Him. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 34, verse 10. The lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. This is the divine guarantee. You have not been brought through wilderness to remain empty. Your portion is fullness. Your inheritance is abundance. Your destiny is supply. Chosen one. The wilderness season taught you to discern. It taught you the difference between what is essential and what is distraction. It taught you that people can leave, opportunities can vanish, possessions can fade, but God remains. That knowledge is the treasure you carry with you into your promised land. Without it, abundance would swallow you. With it, abundance will expand you. So take courage, for the days of scraping by are behind you. The days of waiting for someone to notice you are gone. You are no longer wandering, no longer circling the same mountains of delay. You are crossing over. The river is parting. The land is opening. The promises are unfolding. Still, do not forget this truth. The promised land is not free of battles. Israel had to face giants and fortified cities even after stepping into the land. So too will you face resistance as abundance arrives. But the difference is this: you are not the same person who entered the wilderness. You are stronger, wiser, tested, and unshakable. Giants will fall because you no longer fight with fear. Cities will crumble because you no longer doubt your inheritance. Beloved, step boldly. The wilderness taught you how to walk with God when there was nothing. Now you will walk with Him when there is everything. And just as He sustained you then, He will prosper you now. Your journey is shifting from survival to stewardship, from scraping to storing, from wandering to ruling. Lift your eyes. Chosen one. The horizon is changing. You are standing on the threshold where the wilderness ends and the promised land begins. Do not cling to the dryness of yesterday when the rivers of tomorrow are rushing toward you. Do not hold on to the manna when vineyards, olive groves, and overflowing fields await. What lies ahead is not just for you, it is for generations after you. The abundance you step into will break chains of lack, not only in your life, but in the lives of those who follow. The wealth of nations being placed in your hands is inheritance not only for you, but for your lineage. They will know freedom because you endured the wilderness. They will know abundance because you carried the promise. So, rejoice, for the wilderness is finished. The lessons are complete. The training has accomplished its purpose. Now, step forward, for your promised land awaits. And in it, the fullness of heaven's inheritance will be revealed through you. Chosen one, hear this carefully. The very hands that once worked against you will soon serve the purpose of God in your life. Those who mocked you, dismissed you, or even plotted against you will unknowingly become part of the great transfer. For this is how the kingdom operates. God makes even your enemies contribute to your destiny. Think of Pharaoh in Egypt. He oppressed Israel. Yet when the moment came, his land was plundered by the departing slaves who carried silver and gold into their new season. Think of Haman in Persia, who built gallows for Mordecai but was hung on his own device. In every generation, the wealth of the enemy is redirected into the hands of the chosen, and now you stand in that very place. Beloved, understand this mystery. Sometimes those who resist you are actually building the storehouses you will one day inherit. They're striving, they're hoarding, they're plotting. It all becomes a treasury prepared for you. What was collected in arrogance will be released in humility. What was stored through oppression will be poured out in liberation. Even those who called you unworthy will bow to the hand of God upon you. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 31, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" This is not just comfort, it is a declaration of certainty. No enemy, no rival, no opposition can withstand the decree of heaven. The hand of God ensures that even their efforts against you will turn into resources for you. Picture it like a river. The enemy digs trenches, thinking he is diverting the flow to starve you. Yet heaven shifts the currents, and suddenly, the very water he meant to steal rushes back into your field, flooding it with life. Or imagine a tree planted by the wicked. He tends it, waters it, and grows it tall. But when the storm comes, the fruit falls into your basket, not his. This is the beauty of divine reversal. Now, let me speak to your heart, as a shepherd speaks to his flock. Messages like this are not just words, they are seeds sown into your spirit. For the seed to bear fruit, it must be nurtured, watered, and carried forward. That is why I humbly invite you, if this word is stirring life in you, then let it flow beyond you, like a river that refreshes every field it touches. Let this message flow into other lives. Share it, so someone else in their wilderness might be strengthened. Like it, so the light shines further. Subscribe, so you remain connected to the stream of living words that heaven pours out through this place. And yes, if the Spirit leads you, consider sowing into this work. Just as farmers invest seed into fertile soil, your support is a seed that allows the harvest of these messages to reach farther. When you give, you are not just donating, you are watering a vineyard that feeds many souls. Your seed becomes sermons in more languages, messages reaching hidden corners, comfort flowing to those who are about to give up. This is how heaven multiplies. One seed becomes a forest. One cup of water refreshes generations. You are not merely a listener, you are a builder of the kingdom, and the measure you release will return to you, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Beloved, do not underestimate the power of your action. A click, a share, a word of encouragement. These are modern-day loaves and fishes. They seem small, but in the hands of God, they feed thousands. When you support the message, whether by sharing or by sowing, you become like the boy who handed over his lunch to Jesus. The miracle happened because he released what little he had, and heaven multiplied it. So, as you hear this word, let it settle in your spirit. Even your enemies cannot stop the flow. Their resources, their storehouses, their efforts will shift into your hands, and your small acts of faith, your willingness to give, to share, to support, become the channels heaven uses to multiply the impact. Chosen one. This is how the kingdom moves. Nothing is wasted. Not even the resistance of your adversaries. Every battle you endured has prepared you. Every hardship has refined you. And every act of support you release now becomes part of heaven's strategy. Together, we are building something eternal. Together, we are ensuring that the message of destiny reaches the ears of every other chosen one still waiting to wake up. Let your heart rest in this truth. What was once weaponized against you will fund your journey. What was once withheld from you will be poured into your lap. And as you walk forward, you do not walk alone. You are part of a living river, a body, a movement of chosen ones rising together. Chosen one, hear me now. You are walking in the footsteps of Joseph. His life was a prophetic picture of how God raises one person to steward the resources of nations, sold by his brothers, falsely accused, imprisoned without cause. Every step of his suffering was the hidden staircase to his throne. What man designed for evil became the exact path God used for good. And you, beloved, are in the same pattern. The pits you have endured, the betrayals you have faced, the false accusations that cut into your heart, these were not random attacks. They were positioning. They were the currents of a river carrying you to a place you never expected. Joseph did not ask for Egypt, but God planted him there. You did not ask for the wilderness you endured, but God used it to shape you for rulership. The Joseph mandate is upon your life. That mandate is not just survival, it is stewardship. You are not only being blessed for yourself, but entrusted with storehouses for others. The wealth of nations does not flow into selfish hands. It flows into hands that are tested, hands that know the weight of pain, hands that understand the value of mercy. You have been tested. You have been refined. You are ready. According to what is revealed in the book of Genesis, chapter 41, verse 56, when the famine had spread over the whole country, Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold grain to the Egyptians. For the famine was severe throughout Egypt. Do you see the parallel? Chosen one. When the world cries out in lack, heaven entrusts one chosen soul with provision. And now that mantle rests upon you, consider the famine that sweeps through today's world. Not just physical famine, but famine of truth, famine of peace, famine of justice, famine of compassion. The systems of this world tremble, economies shake, and people hunger for hope. Who will open the storehouses? Who will carry wisdom when others panic? You are the Joseph of your generation, assigned not just to survive, but to provide. But with great mandate comes a call to obedience. Joseph could have used his power for revenge, to punish his brothers, or to exalt himself. Instead, he chose forgiveness and stewardship, and so must you. The wealth being transferred into your hands is not just currency, it is responsibility. It is an invitation to shape nations, to rescue families, to restore dignity where it was lost. Beloved, when abundance floods your life, remember the pit you came from. Remember the nights you cried out for bread, the days you felt forgotten, the hours you doubted your worth. Let those memories anchor your humility, so that your heart never hardens in pride. For Joseph never forgot the God who lifted him, and because of this, his influence expanded across the nations. Even now, heaven is whispering to your spirit, prepare the storehouses, prepare your skills, your wisdom, your heart. You will be entrusted with influence, with resources, with connections that others cannot handle. But you must be ready to release them at the appointed time. Do not fear the magnitude of the calling. Do not shrink back, thinking, who am I to carry this? The truth is, you are chosen because you endured what others could not. You survived betrayal without losing faith. You survived prison without losing hope. You survived delay without losing destiny. That is why heaven trusts you now. Chosen one. I invite you to make a prophetic act right now. Type 444 inches the comments. This is not just a number, it is a sign of divine establishment. 4 corners of the earth, 4 winds of heaven, 4 foundations of stability. By declaring 444, you are saying, Lord, establish me as a Joseph in this generation. Establish my hands to steward what you entrust. Establish my heart to remain faithful in abundance. Let it not just be a comment typed, but a covenant sealed. Every time you see that number, let it remind you that you are not only blessed to receive, but appointed to release. Heaven does not trust everyone with storehouses, but it trusts you. So, Rise, Joseph of this hour, the famine of the world will not consume you. Because you are filled with divine wisdom, the shaking of nations will not destroy you. Because you are anchored in heaven's economy, and when others cry out, they will find bread in your storehouses, hope in your words, and light in your presence. Chosen one. The Joseph mandate rests upon you. Carry it with reverence. Steward it with courage. Live it with joy. For the wealth of nations is not just being placed in your hands, it is being placed under your responsibility. For the glory of God and the salvation of many. Chosen one. Hear this with clarity. The cycle of generational lack is breaking. For too long, your lineage may have known scarcity, known closed doors, known the weight of striving without breakthrough. But the decree of heaven is sure. The chains that bound your family's story are shattering, and you are the vessel through which the curse ends and the blessing begins. Think of the patterns that may have haunted your bloodline: cycles of debt, cycles of disappointment, cycles of limitation that seem to repeat from one generation to the next. Perhaps your parents worked hard but saw little fruit. Perhaps your grandparents carried dreams that never left the ground. Perhaps brokenness or lack became the story whispered at family gatherings. But, beloved, you must understand, you are not bound by those cycles. You are chosen to be the breaker of them. Every curse that ran through your family line stops with you. Where others surrendered to limitation, you rise with authority. Where others believed they were destined to lack, you declare abundance. Where others bowed to fear, you step forward in faith. Your inheritance is not the struggles of the past, but the overflow of the future. Heaven has marked you as the one to turn the tide. It is written in the book of Galatians, chapter 3, verse 14. He redeemed us in order that the blessing given to Abraham might come to the Gentiles through Christ Jesus, so that by faith we might receive the promise of the Spirit. This promise is not abstract, it is alive in you. The same blessing spoken to Abraham, the blessing of multiplication, overflow, and inheritance, rests upon your shoulders. Beloved, think of Abraham's story. He left behind his father's house, his familiar land, and his former ways. He stepped out in obedience, and in doing so, he set a new trajectory for generations after him. His obedience unlocked blessings, not only for himself, but for his children, grandchildren, and countless descendants. So it is with you. Your faith today will alter the future of your lineage. Do not believe the lie that your story must mirror the struggles of those before you. Yes, honor them. Yes, love them. Yes, recognize their sacrifices. But you must also accept that God has chosen you to carry your family beyond where they could go. Their ceiling will be your floor. Their limitations will be your launching pad. What they dreamed, you will build. What they prayed, you will live. Understand this: breaking cycles is not easy, but it is possible. The wilderness you endured was training not only for you, but for everyone connected to you. The battles you fought in silence, the tears you shed alone, the prayers you lifted in desperation, they were not just for your survival. They were seeds planted for your lineage's freedom. Beloved, imagine your children or those who come after you walking into rooms you once only dreamed of. Imagine them living in homes, carrying opportunities, and fulfilling callings that were impossible for past generations. Imagine them never tasting the same lack you once endured. That is the power of a generational breaker. You are rewriting the script, not just for yourself, but for all who will come after you. Remember also that wealth is more than money. It is wisdom, influence, character, and spiritual authority. The abundance being transferred into your life will be multidimensional. It will be resources, yes, but it will also be strategies, clarity, and divine favor. These treasures will pass through you into the next generation. The baton you hand off will be heavy with inheritance, not with lack. And yet, there is a sober responsibility in this. With blessing comes stewardship. The temptation of many who receive overflow is to squander it or to let it die with them. but you must rise higher. You must think generationally. Your words, your decisions, your prayers, they will echo through the lives of those who follow. You are planting trees under whose shade you may never sit, but your descendants will. Chosen one, take courage. You are not just surviving for yourself, you are pioneering for your lineage. You are the hinge on which the family story swings from lack into abundance, from wandering into inheritance, from sorrow into joy. The cycles of the past do not define you. They end with you. Lift your eyes to the horizon of generations yet unborn. They will bless your name, not because you gave them perfection, but because you gave them freedom. They will honor you, not because you avoided every battle, but because you fought the battles they will never have to fight. They will rise and call you blessed, for you carried the weight of breaking what bound them. This is your mantle. Chosen one, you are the breaker of cycles, the steward of new beginnings, the carrier of generational blessing. Stand tall in it. Walk boldly in it. For the wealth of nations flows not only into your hands, but through your hands into the hands of those who will come after. Chosen one, wealth without purpose is nothing more than a trap. The world will tell you that riches are for pleasure, that abundance is for indulgence, that prosperity is for self. But heaven tells a different story. The treasures now being poured into your hands are not for vanity, they are for divine assignment. You are entrusted not only to receive, but to channel, to steward, to multiply for the sake of God's kingdom on earth. Think of the parable of the talents. Each servant was entrusted with a measure according to their ability. The faithful servants multiplied what they received and entered into joy. The one who buried his talent, fearing responsibility, lost even what he had. Beloved, you are not called to bury what is entrusted to you. You are called to multiply it, to release it, to let it expand beyond your reach. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 17, verse 14. For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says, the jar of flour will not be used up, and the jug of oil will not run dry, until the day the Lord sends rain on the land. This word to a widow in famine reminds us that divine provision always carries a purpose. It sustains, it blesses, and it testifies of God's power. So it will be with you. Beloved, purpose is what transforms wealth into legacy. Without purpose, riches fade, but with purpose, they multiply into eternity. You are called to fund visions, to build houses of prayer, to support the poor, to empower those who have been silenced. You are called to be a restorer, a rebuilder, a vessel of justice. Heaven does not release resources without reason. If the wealth of nations is coming into your hands, it is because heaven trusts your heart to carry out divine assignments. Consider Nehemiah, who used his position and favor not to enrich himself, but to rebuild the broken walls of Jerusalem. He saw resources as tools, not trophies. Or Esther, who used her access to a king not to indulge in luxury, but to save her people from destruction. Or the early believers in Acts, who sold their possessions not for self-glory, but to ensure no one in their midst suffered lack. The same Spirit is upon you. The wealth you will hold is not for your table alone, but for the tables of many. It is for the orphan, the widow, the outcast. The forgotten. It is for building wells where there is no water, schools where there is no knowledge, shelters where there is no safety. It is for broadcasting truth where lies have silenced the masses, for raising altars where idols once stood, for empowering voices that darkness tried to mute. Beloved, let your heart expand beyond yourself. You were never chosen to be a reservoir, only you were chosen to be a river. A reservoir stores and stagnates, but a river flows and refreshes. When you hold wealth tightly, it begins to rot. But when you release it with purpose, it multiplies. This is the secret of divine economy. Giving does not diminish you, it expands you. Do not fear lack, for the one who supplies has no shortage. Do not cling to treasures as though they will slip away. For what heaven entrusts cannot be stolen when released in obedience. Your assignment is to hold loosely, to give boldly, to invest in what carries eternal weight. Every act of generosity plants a seed in soil that never dies. Every resource channeled for kingdom purpose builds a structure that cannot be shaken. Chosen one. Purpose will guard you. Wealth without purpose destroys. It blinds the heart, deafens the spirit, and numbs the soul. But wealth with purpose anchors you in humility and fills you with joy. You will find that the more you release for divine assignments, the lighter your steps become, the clearer your vision grows, the stronger your faith stands. So examine your heart now. Ask yourself, why do I desire abundance? Is it for my comfort alone? Or is it for the calling of heaven? Align your desires with God's will, and you will see resources flow in ways you cannot explain. For heaven does not waste wealth on empty hands. It pours into vessels that pour out again. Beloved, never forget this. Your abundance is an answer to someone else's prayer. Your resources will meet their cry. Your obedience will supply their need. You are the bridge between heaven's storehouse and earth's desperation. That is why you were chosen. That is why wealth is being transferred into your hands, not for vanity, but for vision, for mission, for kingdom. Carry it well. Chosen one. The world will see your light, not in how much you keep, but in how much you give. And when you release with purpose, you will taste a joy far greater than any treasure could ever bring. Chosen one. Obedience is the golden key that aligns you with heaven's flow. You can carry vision. You can hold promises. You can even possess resources, but without obedience, everything slips through your hands like sand. The wealth of nations is not released into careless hearts. It is entrusted to those who walk in surrender. From the very beginning, God has always tested his people with one word: obey. Abraham was told to leave his homeland, and he obeyed. Noah was instructed to build an ark before rain had ever touched the earth, and he obeyed. Mary received the shocking announcement that she would carry the Savior, and she obeyed. Each act of obedience opened doors that shaped history, and you, beloved, are part of this same lineage of obedience. Do not underestimate small acts of surrender. Sometimes the breakthrough you seek is hidden in a single step of faith. Sometimes the transfer of abundance is waiting on your yes. Heaven does not measure the size of the act, but the posture of the heart. Whether it is forgiving someone who wronged you, letting go of a fear that has bound you, or stepping into a calling that feels bigger than you, your obedience is the magnet that draws provision and favor into your life. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 2, Verse 9. What no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived the things God has. And what is love, if not shown through obedience? Love is not empty words, it is surrender in action. Chosen one. Hear me. Partial obedience is disobedience. Delayed obedience is disobedience. You cannot expect the fullness of heaven's release while clinging to selective obedience. The oil of abundance flows where the vessel of obedience stands open. If you shut your heart, the oil ceases. If you open it fully, the flow never stops. Consider the widow in the days of Elisha. She had nothing but a small jar of oil, and yet when she obeyed the prophet's instruction to gather vessels, the oil multiplied until every jar was full. What would have happened if she gathered only a few jars? The flow would have ended prematurely. Her obedience determined her overflow. So it will be with you. Beloved, obedience is not always easy. It may call you to let go of familiar comforts. It may push you into places where you feel unqualified. It may require you to silence your pride, your fear, your logic. But obedience is never loss. It is always gain. Every step you take in surrender becomes a seed that blossoms into favor, provision, and breakthrough. And here, I pause to invite you into an act of alignment. As a prophetic declaration of your obedience, type these words in the comments: I will obey. Do not treat it lightly. This is not just another phrase, it is a covenant, a proclamation, a seal in the Spirit. When you write it, you are declaring before heaven and earth that your heart is positioned for surrender, that your hands are open for the oil of provision, that your life is aligned with the flow of nations' wealth. Think of how powerful this moment is. By simply typing, I will obey, you are echoing the cries of prophets, the prayers of saints, the faith of generations. You are placing yourself in the river of obedience that has always led to abundance, and heaven takes notice. Beloved, do not shrink from this. Do not second-guess your worthiness. God is not calling you because of perfection. He is calling you because of willingness. He does not demand flawless performance. He asks for surrendered hearts. And that, chosen one, is who you are. Your obedience today will shape your tomorrow. It will silence the voice of the enemy. It will dismantle cycles of lack. It will open storehouses reserved for the faithful. Each yes becomes a stepping stone into destiny. Each yes unlocks a gate that was once barred. Each yes turns keys that swing open the doors of nations. So walk forward boldly. Do not hesitate when heaven whispers. Do not waver when the Spirit nudges. Trust that every step of obedience carries you deeper into the inheritance already marked with your name. For the wealth of nations is not just falling into any hands, it is falling into obedient hands. And those hands are yours. Chosen one. It is not enough to know that abundance is coming. You must also have the courage to receive it. For many walk to the edge of promise, yet shrink back when overflow arrives. They whisper, I am unworthy. I am not ready. I am not capable. And in doing so, they sabotage the very blessing they prayed for. But you, beloved, are called to a higher posture. You are called to stand open-handed and unafraid when heaven pours into your lap. Think of a child at the shoreline. The waves rush toward them, yet fear makes them step back. They long to touch the water, yet retreat when it comes close. Abundance can feel like those waves, powerful, overwhelming, rushing in faster than you expect. But the invitation is not to retreat. It is to step in, to let the waves cover you, to trust that you will not drown, but be carried. It is written in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 18. But remember the Lord, your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. And so, the source of abundance is not your strength, not your effort, not your striving. It is God who grants you the ability, God who opens the doors, God who sustains the overflow. This knowledge frees you from fear. If heaven chose you, heaven will also equip you. Beloved, courage is not the absence of trembling, it is the decision to move forward even when you tremble. Courage is signing the contract when your hands still shake. Courage is stepping into a room of leaders when you still feel unseen. Courage is sowing generosity when your mind worries about tomorrow. And every act of courage opens a new channel of blessing. Picture your life as a vessel placed beneath a waterfall. If you hold the vessel steady, it fills. If you pull it away in doubt, it remains empty. Courage is the steady posture beneath the waterfall. It is saying, I will not move. I will not shrink. I will receive what my Father pours. Now, allow me to speak to you heart to heart. These messages you are hearing are like seeds scattered in your spirit. Some take root, some bear fruit, and some multiply into forests. For that to happen, they must continue to flow not just to you, but through you to others. That is why I invite you, with sincerity, to partner in this work. When you like and share, you are not pressing mere buttons, you are becoming a sower. Each share is a seed flung into another heart, another home, another wilderness where someone waits for hope. When you subscribe, you are choosing to stay rooted near the stream, so that fresh words of life water you continually. And if you feel the gentle nudge of the Spirit, consider going further. Sow into this ministry through giving. Think of it like planting a tree. One seed placed in good soil grows into shade for many, fruit for generations, oxygen for the atmosphere. What may seem small in your hands becomes multiplied in God's. Your support allows these words to reach nations, to comfort the broken, to awaken the chosen who still sleep in silence. I speak this with humility. Donation is not about transaction, but transformation. It is not about obligation, but opportunity. When you sow, you participate in a divine exchange. You release what is temporal and receive what is eternal. You invest in a harvest you may never fully see, yet heaven records it and multiplies it back into your life in ways beyond calculation. Beloved, think of a river once more. When water flows freely, it refreshes everything along its path. When it is dammed and hoarded, it grows stagnant. Your giving, your sharing, your engagement keep this river moving. You are not only a receiver of the message, but also a channel of it. And every channel that flows is rewarded by the source. Do not underestimate the impact of your action. Someone on the other side of the world may be praying right now for a sign, a word, a confirmation. And through your willingness to share, to subscribe, to give, you become the answer to their prayer. Heaven partners with earth through willing vessels. And you are such a vessel, chosen one. Courage is required not only to receive abundance, but also to release it. Stand steady under the waterfall. Do not flinch when provision rushes in. Do not retreat when influence expands. And do not withhold when the Spirit invites you to sow, for this is the rhythm of heaven, to receive boldly and to give freely. In that rhythm, you will find joy, unspeakable, and abundance, unshakable. Chosen one. There is a reason why the wealth of nations is being placed into your hands. It is not merely to elevate you above others, but so that others may be drawn to the light you carry. Nations, leaders, and influencers are seeking answers in a world trembling with uncertainty. They will not come to empty wells. They will not bow before shallow wisdom, but they will be drawn irresistibly to the radiance of God's light shining through you. You have carried this light even in seasons when you did not notice it. Your endurance in suffering has been a testimony. Your patience in delay has been a witness. Your kindness in hardship has disrupted the plans of darkness more than you realized. People have watched you stand when others fell, hope when others despaired, give when others clung tightly, and they were drawn to the mystery of your strength. That mystery is not you, it is the God within you. It was written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 3, "Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your dawn." This is not a distant promise, it is unfolding even now. The wisdom you carry will attract those searching for counsel. The peace you radiate will attract those drowning in chaos. The authority on your life will attract those weary of counterfeit voices. They will come, not because of your name, but because of the name you carry. Beloved, you must prepare for this. When leaders seek you, will they find humility or pride? When kings ask for your counsel, will they hear God's voice or your ego? When nations come to your light, will they see a steady flame or a flickering spark? The abundance you are stepping into is not only wealth, it is influence, and influence without integrity becomes destruction. But you have been prepared. Every hidden season was not only shaping your character, it was polishing your light. The trials you endured burned away impurities. The prayers you prayed in silence deepened your roots. The tears you shed watered the soil of compassion, and now the light shining from within you is steady, unshakable, and undeniable. Consider Solomon. When nations heard of his wisdom, they came bearing gifts. Queens and kings traveled far, not simply to witness his wealth, but to drink from the fountain of his God-given understanding. His influence was global because his wisdom was divine. The same mantle is upon you, not to display riches for admiration, but to carry counsel that transforms lives. Beloved, imagine boardrooms where leaders whisper your name because they sense you carry answers. Imagine households healed because you spoke peace into their storm. Imagine nations shifting course because the counsel you carry redirected their path. These are not fantasies. They are assignments written into your destiny. The wealth flowing into your hands is simply the tool to sustain the light that draws nations. Yet with this honor comes responsibility. When they come, you must remember the source. Never let the applause of men drown out the voice of God. Never let the gifts of kings distract you from the King of Kings. Your role is not to be worshipped, but to point upward. You are not the light itself. You are the vessel through which the true light shines. And you must also be discerning. Not every voice that seeks your counsel will have pure motives. Some will come to manipulate, some to flatter, some to test. But the Spirit within you will reveal the difference, just as Daniel stood in Babylon, interpreting dreams with accuracy while refusing compromise. So will you stand in the presence of rulers and remain uncorrupted, chosen one. Nations will come, not because you sought them, but because heaven ordained it. You will not need to chase influence. Influence will chase you. You will not need to grasp for recognition. Recognition will flow naturally when God's light is evident. All you must do is remain faithful, remain humble, remain anchored in His presence. Lift your eyes now, for your dawn is breaking. The light you carry is not dim, it is blazing. The wealth in your hands is not shallow, it is purposeful. The influence before you is not fleeting, it is eternal. Nations will walk toward you. Kings will bow to the wisdom you carry, and lives will be transformed in the radiance of your obedience. Chosen one, prepare your heart. Influence is coming. Responsibility is arriving. The nations are waiting, and the light within you is ready to shine. Chosen one. Time is not a gentle stream that waits for you, it is a rushing current. And in this very hour, heaven has opened a window that will not remain forever. There are moments in history when God presses pause on the ordinary and ushers in the extraordinary. You are living in one of those moments. The wealth of nations is not coming someday. It is moving now. The transfer has already begun. Hesitation is dangerous. Delay is costly. When Israel stood at the border of the Promised Land, they saw giants and turned back in fear. That one moment of hesitation cost them 40 years of wandering. Beloved, do not repeat their mistake. You are standing at a doorway, and the voice of heaven is saying, "Step through." The apostle wrote in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 2, "I tell you, now is the time of God's favor. Now is the day of salvation." Notice the word now, not tomorrow, not next year, not when you feel ready. Now, this is the moment to align your heart, to lift your hands, to receive what has already been appointed for you. Beloved, think of the farmer who delays planting seed until the season has passed. No matter how fertile the soil, no matter how rich the rain, if the seed is not sown in time, there will be no harvest. So it is with your obedience. The window is open now. The soil is ready now. The rain is falling now. Your seed of faith, your act of surrender, your step of courage, these must be planted now. Do not let fear whisper lies to you. Fear says, "Wait until you are stronger." But heaven says, "I will strengthen you as you move." Fear says, "Wait until everything makes sense." But heaven says, "Step, and clarity will meet you on the path." Fear says, "You are not ready." But heaven says, "You are chosen." And that is enough. Look back at your journey. Can you not see how every closed door prepared you for this open one? How every wilderness taught you to value abundance? How every rejection trained you to recognize true favor? Nothing has been wasted. The delay was not denial, it was alignment. And now the alignment has reached its fullness. The transfer is here. The timing is now. Beloved, you must choose. Will you step into this season with courage? Or will you watch the river of blessing flow past because you hesitated at the shore? Heaven is urgent. not because God is impatient, but because opportunity is seasonal. A fruit not harvested in time rots on the branch. A door left unanswered eventually closes. Do not let this moment slip. And here, I invite you into a prophetic declaration. Type the number 555 inches, the comments. This is not a casual action, it is a covenant. 5 is the number of grace. And by writing 555, you are declaring, Lord, I step into triple grace. I step into the fullness of this divine window. I refuse to delay. I walk into favor now. Every time your eyes meet that number, let it remind you of this moment. Let it remind you that grace is multiplied over your life. That opportunity is open before you, and that hesitation has no hold on you. This is your symbolic step of faith, your act of agreement with heaven's timing. Chosen one. The urgency you feel is not anxiety, it is divine alignment. The Spirit is stirring you, nudging you, urging you not to waste this moment. Heaven has orchestrated resources, aligned connections, and positioned you for release. Do not allow hesitation to rob you. Step boldly, receive fully, act swiftly, for the transfer of the wealth of nations is not a distant dream, it is the reality of this hour. And those who respond will walk in abundance, while those who hesitate will watch it pass them by. Beloved, this is your time. This is your now. Step into it. Seal it with your declaration and walk forward, knowing that grace upon grace, favor upon favor, and abundance upon abundance are flowing into your life. Chosen one. Abundance is a dangerous gift when carried without humility. Wealth can lift or it can crush, depending on the posture of the heart. Many before you were entrusted with much, but pride poisoned their steps, and what could have been legacy became downfall. This is why heaven warns you now, guard your heart, for pride is subtle, and it creeps in quietly, clothed in success, wrapped in applause. Pride whispers, "This is my doing. My wisdom built this. My hands achieved this." Yet every good thing you carry flows from the giver of all. Without him, the air in your lungs, the strength in your bones, the clarity in your mind would not exist. Pride blinds you to this truth. And blindness is dangerous when you are entrusted with much. It was proclaimed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 18, "Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall." These are not mere words of caution, they are divine laws of the Spirit. Pride sets a snare that no wealth can loosen, no influence can rescue, no strategy can escape. But humility, beloved, keeps the crown secure upon your head. Think of King Nebuchadnezzar. He stood on his balcony, surveying the greatness of Babylon, and declared, "Look at this kingdom I have built by my power." In that very moment, his sanity was stripped, his throne removed, and he wandered like an animal until humility was restored. The danger was not his wealth or influence, it was his pride. In contrast, think of King David. Though he commanded armies and held treasures, he often fell to his knees in worship, confessing his weakness, exalting the one who lifted him. His humility kept him aligned even after his failures, and because of this, his throne was established in covenant, stretching into eternity. Beloved, the question is not whether wealth will come, It will. The question is, will you bow low enough to carry it? The posture of humility is not self-hatred, it is self-awareness. It is the recognition that you are chosen not because of your perfection but because of God's purpose. It is the daily bowing of your heart to the source. Humility is what transforms abundance into blessing. It keeps your eyes open to the needs of others. It reminds you that wealth is not a mirror for vanity, but a window for generosity. It anchors you when others place crowns of praise upon your head, whispering back to your spirit, all glory belongs to Him. Beloved, pride can hide in many forms. It can wear the mask of independence, saying, I need no one. It can wear the mask of comparison, saying, at least I am better than them. It can even wear the mask of false humility, saying, I am nothing, while secretly craving recognition. Do not let these masks deceive you. Guard your heart diligently, for humility must be genuine. How do you guard against pride? Stay rooted in gratitude every day. Remember what God has done. Remember the pits you came from, the nights you wept in silence, the doors He opened that no man could shut. Gratitude crushes pride before it takes root. Remain also in service. Even as wealth increases, do not remove yourself from acts of compassion. Serve the lowly. Listen to the broken. Walk among those who cannot repay you. Service keeps the crown on your head light, reminding you that leadership is stewardship, not entitlement. And above all, remain in worship. Pride dies in the presence of God when your hands are lifted, when your knees are bent, when your lips declare His greatness. Pride finds no room to grow. Worship is not an option, it is your safeguard. Chosen one. Never forget, crowns are fragile when worn in pride, but unshakable when carried in humility. The same wealth that destroys others will establish you, because you will not bow to it, you will bow with it, laying it down at the feet of the King who entrusted it. So walk boldly into abundance, but walk lowly in spirit. Accept influence, but with reverence. Achieve riches, but with responsibility. Nations will see the difference in you, while others flaunt. You will steward, while others boast. You will give thanks, while others crumble under the weight of pride. You will rise in the strength of humility. Beloved, humility is not weakness, it is strength under surrender. And because you carry it, your abundance will not fade, your crown will not slip, your inheritance will not be lost. You will walk as a chosen one, crowned not only with wealth but with wisdom, not only with resources but with reverence. Chosen one. The resources being poured into your hands are not for idle display. They are weapons of justice, instruments of revival, and tools of restoration. Heaven does not release abundance merely for comfort. It releases it to rebuild what has been broken and to raise what has been torn down. The wealth of nations is not arriving to decorate your life, but to activate your destiny. Think of Nehemiah, who looked at the ruins of Jerusalem's walls. Others saw rubble, but he saw opportunity. He carried favor from a foreign king, resources from unexpected places, and determination birthed in prayer. With those resources, he rallied people to restore dignity to a city once shamed. Wealth, beloved, is not an end, it is a beginning. It is the fuel to ignite restoration where despair has lived too long. The prophet Isaiah declared, chapter 61, verse 4, "They will rebuild the ancient ruins and restore the places long devastated. They will renew the ruined cities that have been devastated for generations." This scripture is alive in you. The abundance flowing into your hands carries this assignment to rebuild, restore, and renew. Beloved, the world is filled with ruins. Broken families crying out for reconciliation, communities crushed by injustice, voices silenced by oppression, dreams left to rot in forgotten corners. These are the ruins heaven is sending you to, not to pity them, but to rebuild them, not to admire the rubble, but to lay fresh stones of hope. You must understand, revival is not only fire falling from heaven, it is also bread placed on tables, shelters built for the vulnerable, schools opened for the forgotten, justice established where corruption once reigned. The Spirit works through both miracles and means. And now, as wealth is transferred into your hands, you are called to partner with both. Consider the life of Joseph once more. When famine struck, his wisdom and resources preserved not only Egypt, but the nations that came seeking grain. He did not hoard the storehouses for himself. He released them in divine timing, ensuring survival for multitudes. So too will your resources sustain those caught in famine, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual. Beloved, do not despise practical assignments. It may feel more glamorous to preach on platforms or prophesy in crowds, but heaven values the unseen acts of justice, to clothe the naked, to feed the hungry, to defend the voiceless. These are holy tasks. When you use your resources for such purposes, you are not just giving aid, you are building altars. Every act of justice is a form of worship. Every restoration, a fragrance rising to heaven. Your abundance is a key. With it, you will unlock doors for others who were trapped in cycles of lack. You will fund visions that carry revival. You will support voices that have been silenced by poverty. You will create opportunities where none existed. This is how the kingdom of God advances, not only through words, but through works fueled by divine provision. But, beloved, there is a warning too. Wealth without purpose becomes waste, and waste invites corruption. If you turn resources inward alone, they will decay. But if you release them outward with intention, they will multiply. This is the law of the Spirit. Seed must be sown to bear fruit. If you sow into justice, you will reap righteousness. If you sow into mercy, you will reap joy. If you sow into restoration, you will reap revival. Chosen one, look around your life. Where are the ruins near you? Whose walls have been broken? Whose dreams have been devastated? Do not wait for another. You are the chosen one, sent with tools of restoration. The wealth you carry is not a trophy, it is a hammer, a blueprint, a foundation stone. Heaven entrusts it to you, because heaven knows you will build with it. And as you build, remember this truth: revival and justice flow together. Where light shines, darkness flees. Where restoration begins, corruption crumbles. Where abundance is released, oppression loses its grip. You are part of this divine movement, carrying both the fire of the Spirit and the resources of heaven. Beloved, let your vision expand. Think beyond yourself, beyond your comfort, beyond your own circle. See the nations, the generations, the broken systems, the silent cries. See them not as impossible burdens, but as assignments waiting for your obedience. You have been entrusted with wealth, not because of who you are alone, but because of what you will do with it. Carry it wisely, release it freely, build with it boldly. And as you do, the world will see that heaven's economy is not like man's economy, where the world hoards. Heaven shares. Where the world exploits, heaven restores. Where the world decays, heaven rebuilds. Chosen one, this is your calling. To take the resources now flowing into your hands and use them to raise ruins, restore dignity, and rebuild lives. In doing so, you will not only carry wealth, you will become a restorer, a revivalist, a builder of justice on the earth. Chosen one, there are moments when destiny no longer walks, it runs. Seasons when years of delay collapse into sudden acceleration. You are entering such a moment now. The things you prayed for in silence, the opportunities you thought had passed you by, the promises that felt like distant echoes, they are rushing toward you with divine speed. This is not coincidence. This is God's acceleration. Think of a seed buried in soil. For months, nothing appears. The ground looks unchanged. Then suddenly, in a single week, a sprout bursts forth, and growth multiplies rapidly. It seems sudden, but it was never sudden. The unseen roots were deepening all along. So it is with you. What felt like stagnation was unseen preparation. And now, the sprout of destiny breaks through the surface. Acceleration is like the turning of seasons. Winter feels endless. Yet, in a single sunrise, blossoms appear, and life awakens where only barrenness was seen. You are stepping into such a sunrise. What seemed dead is not dead at all. It was simply waiting for divine timing to release its beauty, its fragrance, its fruit. Beloved, do not mistake the speed of this hour for chaos. It is order, heaven's order. The same God who aligned stars in the sky and tides in the seas is aligning your steps. What felt delayed will suddenly feel synchronized. You will look back and say, "It all happened so fast." Yet heaven whispers, "It happened right on time." No, it is written in the book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 13. The days are coming, declares the Lord, when the reaper will be overtaken by the plowman and the planter by. This is the picture of acceleration harvest, chasing seed. Abundance overflowing faster than it can be contained. Beloved, acceleration is not random. It comes when time, character, and calling converge. Heaven waited until you were ready to carry the weight without crumbling, until your faith was strong enough to sustain the flood. Now that moment has arrived. What once took years will now take months. What once took months will now take days. The pace of your destiny is quickening. But hear this: acceleration requires readiness. A runner who hesitates at the starting line misses the burst of speed. A ship unprepared for wind will capsize when the gust comes. So too, you must anchor yourself even as the pace increases. Let your humility remain deep. Your gratitude remain steady. Your discernment remain sharp. Now let me pause and speak from the heart. These words you are hearing are like oil poured into your spirit. Oil that fuels your lamp. oil that keeps you burning while the world grows dim. To keep this flame alive, I humbly invite you, do not keep the oil to yourself. Share it, like a torch passed from one hand to another, so others may see light. So the flame remains visible. Subscribe, so you never step out of the stream of oil that heaven keeps pouring. And yes, if the Spirit stirs your heart, consider giving. A seed released into fertile soil multiplies far beyond what you could imagine. Your donation is not just support, it is participation. It is like placing stones in a foundation that will hold up houses of hope for generations. It is like planting trees whose fruit you may never taste, but whose shade will comfort others. This ministry is fertile ground, and your generosity waters its reach. Do not see giving as loss, see it as partnership. Just as a farmer rejoices when he sows, knowing the harvest will return, multiplied, so too heaven rejoices when you release into kingdom soil. And as you give, know this, you are not only fueling words on a page, but feeding souls, lifting burdens, awakening the chosen still sleeping in darkness. Beloved, even your smallest act matters. A comment is not just text, it is testimony. When you write your thoughts, you are joining your voice to a chorus that strengthens others who read. You may never know whose weary eyes find courage because of your words, but heaven knows. Every comment is a ripple in the waters of encouragement. So I ask sincerely, when this word touches you, respond. Share what it stirs in you. Your reflection may be the spark someone else needs to believe again. This space is not just a message, it is a table. And your voice adds to the feast. Chosen one, acceleration is upon you. Do not fear the speed of change. Do not hesitate as doors swing wide. Step boldly. Walk humbly. Give freely. And shine steadily. For the season of waiting is ending, and the season of sudden breakthrough has begun. Chosen one, your life is about to become a living testimony, a sign and a wonder to those who watch from near and far. You will be the evidence that heaven's economy does not bow to earth's systems, that God's provision is not chained by market trends or worldly power. Where others shake, you will stand. Where others lose, you will gain. Where others fear, you will shine. From the beginning, God has always raised individuals whose very existence disrupted the logic of the world. Consider Elijah, fed by ravens during famine. Consider Daniel, preserved in the den of lions, while others would have perished. Consider the early church, growing in boldness and generosity even under persecution. Each became a sign to their generation, living proof that heaven rules over earth. So, will you be? Beloved, understand this. Your life is more than personal survival. It is prophecy in motion. People will look at you and see the fingerprints of God. They will see doors open where none existed. Provision flow from unexpected places. Favor arrive in impossible moments. They will whisper, "How can this be?" And the answer will not be your strength, but your God. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 1, verse 5, "Look at the nations, and watch, and be utterly amazed. For I am going to do something in your days that..." This scripture is not just history, it is your present reality. God is doing something in your life that will cause others to stand in awe. Being a sign and wonder does not mean living without trials. It means that trials do not consume you. It means walking through fire and coming out without the smell of smoke. It means facing storms and finding peace in the middle of waves. The miracle is not the absence of battles, but the presence of God that makes you unshakable in them. Beloved, signs and wonders are not for your glory, but for His. When people see the difference in you, they will ask questions. They will lean closer. They will hunger for the same source, your abundance, your peace. Your resilience will all point upward, declaring, "This is the hand of the Lord." You will not need to preach many words. Your life itself will be a sermon. Think of a lamp set on a hill. It does not argue with darkness. It simply shines. That is what your life will become, a radiant witness that light is stronger, that hope is real, that abundance flows from heaven to earth. Where others chase explanations, your testimony will silence doubt. Chosen one, prepare your spirit, for being a sign and wonder carries weight. People will observe you closely, some with admiration, others with skepticism. Do not grow anxious. Simply remain anchored in truth. The same God who lifts you is the one who sustains you. You do not carry yourself. You are carried. This season will also test your consistency. When abundance arrives, will your light dim under the shadow of pride? When influence grows, will your heart still bow in humility? When crowds press in, will you still seek solitude in God's presence? The power of a sign is not in its momentary flash, but in its enduring clarity. Stay clear, stay faithful, stay true. Beloved, the wonder of your life will not only be in what you gain, but in how you respond. The world marvels at wealth, but heaven marvels at stewardship. The world marvels at success, but heaven marvels at obedience. The true wonder is not the treasure in your hands, but the purity of your heart as you carry it. You are being positioned as a lighthouse. Ships lost in storms will navigate by your steady beam. Families wandering in despair will find direction by your testimony. Communities drowning in lack will rise again because your overflow reaches them. You are not only blessed, you are appointed as a channel of blessing. And here is the beauty. You do not need to strive to be a wonder. You only need to surrender. Wonders are not manufactured. They are revealed. Signs are not forced. They are given. Your only task is to remain open, obedient, and faithful. God will do the rest. Chosen one. Expect to see amazement in the eyes of others as they watch your story unfold. Expect to hear astonishment in their voices as they recount what God has done for you. Expect to feel the weight of being set apart, not for show, but for glory. And when these moments come, remember they were written long before you were born. Walk forward with reverence. Walk forward with joy. For your life is becoming what few dare to believe a sign, a wonder, a living testimony that heaven still intervenes, that God still raises chosen ones, that the wealth of nations still flows into the hands of the faithful. Chosen one, you stand at the culmination of all that has been spoken, crowned with unstoppable abundance. This is not a temporary rise, not a fleeting season of favor, but a seal upon your life. Heaven has declared it, and no force on earth or hell can overturn it. You are walking as an heir of promises, clothed in glory, entrusted with the wealth of nations. This abundance is not fragile, it is unstoppable. It flows like a river whose source cannot run dry. It moves like the wind, unseen, yet undeniable. It carries you forward, lifting you beyond boundaries you once thought unbreakable. For the crown upon your head is not given by man, it is bestowed by God, and therefore it cannot be removed. We are reminded in the book of Psalms, chapter 5, verse 12, "Surely, Lord, you bless the righteous, you surround them with your favor as with a shield. This is your covering." Favor is not occasional for you, it is constant. Blessing is not accidental for you, it is intentional. You are shielded, surrounded, and sustained. Beloved, abundance does not mean the absence of storms. It means storms no longer define you. Crowns are not tested in peace, but in battle, and you have already endured the refining. That is why the crown fits you now. You wear it not as one who chased riches, but as one who carried crosses. The scars on your journey are proof that you can carry glory without breaking. This crown is also a responsibility. Nations will watch how you walk. Generations will trace the path you leave. What you do with the wealth, the influence, the authority entrusted to you will ripple far beyond your lifetime. But heaven has confidence in you. You will not squander. You will not falter. You will not trade your inheritance for vanity. Beloved, picture yourself standing on a mountain at sunrise. The valleys of hardship lie behind you. The wilderness you endured stretches in the distance. Yet on this peak, light breaks forth, flooding everything with clarity. That is where you are now, at the dawn of fulfillment. The shadows of delay no longer cover you. The brightness of destiny surrounds you. And though you are crowned, never forget, the crown itself is a sign that you belong to the King. You are not sovereign, you are steward. You are not the source, you are the vessel. Every jewel in your crown reflects His glory. Every glimmer is a testimony, not to your greatness, but to His faithfulness. Beloved, walk with peace. Walk with reverence. The crown you wear is secure. The abundance you carry, unstoppable. The calling you fulfill, undeniable. You are marked as one of God's chosen, and nothing will strip this identity from you. Chosen one. Pause here. You have journeyed through every word, from the wilderness to the crown, from rejection to inheritance, from hiddenness to unveiling. What you have heard is not merely story, it is prophecy. It is the reminder that your life is written in heaven's ink, sealed with heaven's promise, guarded by heaven's hand. You are unshakable because your foundation is unshakable. You are unstoppable because your assignment is unstoppable. The wealth of nations flows not to make you comfortable, but to make you impactful. Every tear you cried has become a seed. Every battle endured has become strength. Every delay survived has become alignment. Lift your head. Your tomorrow will not mirror your yesterday. The valleys are behind you. The dawn is before you. Nations will call you blessed. Generations will rise from your legacy, and heaven will smile upon your obedience. You are not just surviving, you are reigning. You are not just waiting, you are walking in fulfillment. Carry this with courage. Speak it with boldness. Live it with humility, for you are God's chosen one, crowned with unstoppable abundance, a sign and a wonder to the world.